Hello, Clifta. Hello, Justiana. I want to thank the both of you for joining me today. As I mentioned during my meeting with each of you, I'm concerned that you both have not been getting along lately following the announcement of the Employee of the Month award for October. I've noticed that the both of you work on the floor with customers and that there's an existence of a disconnection between the shoe department and the apparel department. After the pre-meetings, my understanding of the issue at hand has improved. No one wants to have these disagreements, and I do not want this issue to impact the future work between the both of you. It is also crucial to have a respectable work environment, not only for the sales of the company, but for the well-being of other coworkers. Again, I appreciate you both for joining me today. So we're here today to discuss alternatives to solve this problem. Before we begin, I would like to establish some ground rules. First, my role is that of an observer. In other words, you should talk with each other. Next, in my pre-meeting with each of you, we agreed that we would use this uninterrupted time to work together to solve the problem. We also agreed that no one would leave this session until we had come to some sort of resolution to this problem. Now I think we're ready to start. To begin this conversation, whoever wants to start, go ahead.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Clifta, and so I currently work in the shoe department, and then it's a very high, not risk, but it's very fast-paced and busy, and I'm constantly working. And ever since Justiana has come in, she works in the or I guess I'm supposed to address Justiana. Justiana, I felt like ever since you've gotten here, you have been getting all this praise for everything you're doing. And while you have increased sales, it's an easier time. And I often see you talking to other people though. And so it's become difficult because I feel that everything I'm doing on my end isn't being acknowledged, whereas Justiana is getting all the praise for everything. And so I just have felt this kind of like tension and lack of appreciation.
Okay. Clifta, is it fair to say that following the announcement of the October's Employee of the Month award, that it's important for you to be appreciated for the time and effort you have put into the company? And if I'm understanding this correctly, at that moment you felt kind of a bit underappreciated for that work that you were doing, and like to see more of that recognition.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it just because the shoe department does require so much more interaction and knowledge with the customers because you have to know the certain sizes, you have to run back and forth, and you have to do that interaction. Whereas her department may not have those skills and requirements necessary to help the customers.
Okay. Can you tell me a time, Clifton, when you felt valued at this workplace, or if not, another setting that required your contribution?
So yeah, I've been with the company for a little bit over 3 years, coming up on 4 now. And so I have had a lot of good interactions and I've had some bad interactions. At the beginning of the job, I quickly gained and learned on. And so I think at the beginning I felt praised for it because my manager did recognize the hard work I was putting on. And that is why I became in this department, because they knew that I would be able to handle these extra responsibilities in the shoe department because it requires so much out of the employees there.
Okay. Clifta, would you like to, I mean, not Clifta, Justiana, would you like to give your perspective to this situation?
Yeah, thank you. So I wasn't aware that there was such conflict until recently. Word came about that Clifton was calling me a slacker. Personally, I feel like that's a false accusation towards me because recently I was awarded Employee of the Month. So that just goes to show that I'm dedicated to my work, and for you, Clifton, to be saying that I am a slacker, I don't think that's fair when I'm working in both departments. I know sometimes the shoe department could be more demanding, but I'm trying to do my best multitasking within both departments. So if I do talk or am talking with other employees, it's just because that mixture of working within both departments, it's hard to know who's working in which department. So it's not that I'm trying to be a slacker. I'm just trying to see who are my new coworkers to make a smooth work environment.
Okay. Justiana, is it fair to say that you would like to be seen as competent for your work and therefore a good candidate for this award? And this situation has left you feeling blamed in a way for receiving this award.
Yes, I think you expressed that perfectly on my behalf. Like I said, I'm trying to manage both departments while I'm a full-time college student. So it, although I with the award, I think that goes on to show that I am doing my part as a team member of the company. So I think that goes on to show that I am capable of managing both departments and tasks, not slacking or not fulfilling my duties.
Okay. Justiana, I've heard you brought up the comment that was made by Clifta. I understand that you may have felt insulted when you have heard this comment and potentially embarrassed in front of your peers. Can you describe a possible solution to that situation or how you would like that carried out better?
Well, I would guess if you, Clifta, had just addressed me, that if you were feeling that I was not doing my job to my best capabilities, if you would just come up and tell me rather than have it be spread through the grapevine. I would appreciate just if there is any other altercations or disagreements in the future, if that could just be communicated on a one-on-one basis rather than through the whole company.
Okay, so I can see that there may have been a lack of communication. Clifta, do you have any response to Justiana's statement?
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from, where you would rather have had me just explain it to your face. And I do apologize about that part. I should have expressed my frustration to you. Sometime in that workplace, we talk with our coworkers and it gets busy and we just kind of complain to each other, and so it comes out. But I should have come to you directly to address that issue rather than talking to other people behind your back about it.
Well, I guess it's not your fault. It sometimes it does. I do get carried away in conversations. So a little reminder to get back to work won't hurt anybody.
I can see that we're kind of coming to some sort of resolution for the both of you. That lack of communication, if it was there, it kind of would have prevented this little tension between you. Is that right? If it wasn't there,
Yeah.
if there was a more communication.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Okay, so I can see that we can come to a consensus that there was a lack of communication between the both of you. So, but from both of you, what do you think you could do? How you could move forward to where that this lack of communication doesn't appear as often or doesn't come up?
Well, I'll start. I mean, I do feel like I initiated this issue because I was kind of being passive aggressive and then talking through the grapevine. So I will try to bring my issues to Justiana when I have them. And if I verbally acknowledge her and talk to her at that point. And then also when she does try to address me, because I remember last time that she did come up to me, I gave her the silent treatment. So rather than doing that, I'm going to try to be able to express and talk to you directly, Justiana, rather than just trying to avoid it and seem that like I'm better than you or something. And I apologize if it came off that way. I didn't mean to. I was just frustrated at that time because it is a demanding job and I get overwhelmed at times.
And I appreciate that, Clifta. I guess I can now stop being inconsiderate and consider that you also do volunteering hours on top of this demanding job. So I will not be messing around as much with other employees and try to help out more both in my position in the shoe department and also in the apparel side of the company. Just to prevent further, you know, from you being feeling overwhelmed and overloaded as well with some tasks. So I'll try to step up my game too.
Okay. Um, so before we conclude this meeting, I want to ask both of you final question. What if something that we agreed to does not take place? What are we going to do after that?
I guess I can answer this first. I think that we should try to talk it out on our own, Clifton, just because we just spoke about, speaking to each other first when we have an issue. Um, but if that escalates, I would appreciate having another session like this just so we can keep things amicable.
And I agree with that. I kind of to add on to it, I think that maybe if we tried to build our friendship or work relationship, it doesn't necessarily need to be a friendship, but upon like when we have issues, like because work can get boring and it can get hard. And so when we have good coworkers, it makes it more exciting. And so maybe if we build that, it will kind of help that communication because it'll be easier to talk. But if for any reason me or you don't follow through, I do think that another mediation would be good to have another person to kind of be here and foster that kind of interaction that we have.
Agreed.
Awesome. I want to thank the both of you for coming here. I think we've learned a lot from each other's perspectives and apologized for some things. And this is great. This is a great step forward. I still want to plan just a follow up meeting just to see how things are going. Taking probably 2 weeks after this meeting. And again, thank you for participating in this session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Clifton.
Thank you, Justin.